Hello, good morning, and Happy New Year. I'm Alex Dusky, and I'm here with Grayson Singleton and Jace Andrews, and we are outside State Farm Stadium here for the 51st annual PlayStation Fiesta Bowl with the number 9 Oklahoma State Cowboys taking on the number 5 Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Guys, what are your general thoughts going into this game? How are you feeling right now?
Well, I'm interested to see from the Notre Dame side of things, how do they adjust with Marcus Freeman going from defensive coordinator being elevated to head coach? The stability there from the press conference that he provided was very good to see. And as for the Oklahoma State Cowboys, again, how does the transition from Jim Knowles to the play calling by committee on the defensive side of the ball affect the defense?
Now, before we get into it, you guys saw the Notre Dame fans. I just want to say we saw 4 buses of OSU fans unload in the parking lot, and the Cowboy Marching Band is here, ready to play, support the team. I haven't seen the Notre Dame band. Have you guys? No?
Not here.
The Cowboys actually played our fight song at the Phoenix Zoo, and since Notre Dame didn't show up, they played their fight song as well, so I thought that was pretty cool. Jace, what are your thoughts going into this game? How are you feeling right now?
Well, I think the biggest thing is going to be, you mentioned how they're going to adjust on Notre Dame's defense fight. I'm seeing how the Cowboys defense is going to adjust to this Notre Dame Fighting Irish offense, because they're a different type of offense than we've seen all year. They're not a Big 12 style. They're not going to kind of run and gun. It's going to be, dip and dunk. It's going to be a Tom Brady offense, if you want to say that. Jack Cohn has not the best legs, so it's going to be little short passes, and I'm interested to see how Chris Tyree, is going to perform, being his first kind of, I know they said running back by committee, but I expect him to be the lead back with more than probably 10 or plus rushes. I'm just trying to kind of see what this play calling. I think that's an interesting thing going in. 3 guys calling plays. That's going to be something interesting to look at.
Kind of setting the scene here in Glendale, Arizona. It's about 48 degrees right now, 8:45 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. As you can see, it's a bubble. We are really thankful for that. We apologize if you can hear the wind in our microphones.
Yeah, the wind is very much howling.
It's kind of chilly. I'm glad I got my orange blazer today. So if you have been following along with the pregame show all season, you know that we do Who Has the Edge for offense, defense, and special teams. We're kind of going to mimic that today. Just kind of looking at the Oklahoma State offense as a whole. Offense was not the team's strength this season. Defense was. We've talked about that all week long. But they kind of found their groove later on in the season. Spencer Sanders is coming off of that rough game against Baylor in the Big 12 championship. Jay, start us off with who has the edge between the Cowboys and the Fighting Irish.
Right there, Spencer Sanders had probably one of his rougher games of the year, if not the roughest, in the Big 12 championship against Baylor, throwing 4 interceptions. But I will say most of those interceptions were probably not Spencer Sanders' fault. I would say maybe 1 and then 3 probably team interceptions that kind of bounced the wrong way. But the good news is you have a bad game, you're usually prone to bounce back. So I would expect the offense to be a strength here, and especially with Jaylen Warren back, I expect the Cowboy offense to be rolling. And I would give the edge to Cowboys.
Yeah,
and that's the big thing, Jace, that you mentioned at the end. Jaylen Warren is back, which means they will go back to relying on that run game. Spencer Sanders will be more in his more comfortable position as a game manager. I'm going to give the edge to the Cowboy offense just because of the return of Jaylen Warren.
I'm going to give the edge to the Cowboys as well, and I also kind of think we've talked about it. Coming off of a loss or a tough game is really kind of empowering for the team. We saw that with Georgia last night, coming off of that SEC loss to Bama, and then coming out and beating Michigan last night. I kind of expect the Cowboys to bounce back from that loss. Looking at the defense for who has the edge, like you both said, Cowboys and Notre Dame are missing their defensive coordinators because the Fighting Irish is Marcus Freeman, who is now their new head coach. And we said there will be 3 defensive coaches calling the plays in today's game for the Cowboys. With that in mind, and knowing how historic of a season the Cowboy defense has had, Grayson, who has the edge?
Because of matchup, I'm going to go with Oklahoma State. Jack Cohn does not present any sort of threat with his legs, and he's very inaccurate as a passer. So this would be a great game for the Cowboy defense to get some turnovers. I know they're going to have the problems with the play calling, maybe some communication issues, and Marcus Freeman there still being the head coach with Notre Dame will provide some stability there, but I still think matchup-wise, Oklahoma State favors better against the Notre Dame offense than vice versa.
Great. Jace, who has the edge?
I think you said it right, that the Oklahoma State defense is going to fare better against the Notre Dame offense. But if we're looking at who has the edge, I think there's just more question marks on the OSU defense. Now, I'm going to split it. I'm going to say that who has the edge in the first half is definitely going to be Notre Dame, because OSU is going to be kind of running all over the place play calling. But the second half, OSU's defense will come up big, and I fully see them coming up with a pick to win the game, a fumble recovery. They'll be the reason. They'll be on the field last, and Spencer Sanders will get to knee the ball out just like in Bedlam.
I'm going to give the edge to the Cowboys. To me, it's a no-brainer. Like we said, we've given them the edge for all of the games this season, and today is no different. So now time for score predictions. Right now, the spread is even. That means that the bookies have not picked a favorite in this game. It was 2.5 up until this morning. Yeah. The over-under, I think, is about, what, 49 points?
Yeah, about 45.5.
And the ESPN prediction has Notre Dame favored by 0.5%. They have a 50.5% chance to win. OSU is a 49.5% chance to win. With that in mind, Jace, what's your score prediction for today?
Well, just like you said, this game is going to be close, and that's why this game will be the best game of the day, and I fully believe that. I don't really understand why this game is 11, but I think it's to get everybody ready for the morning. But with that being said, I think Oklahoma State will come out on top 23-17. Just like I said, I think the pick will come at the last possession of the game for Notre Dame, be driving, and Cone will throw an interception. So I'm going to go 23-17 Oklahoma State.
Grayson, what's your prediction?
If you're going to bet on this game, take the under. It's going to be a very low-scoring game. Two very limited quarterbacks, one that is limited to only one dimension. 21-17 Oklahoma State. The defense comes up big and develops some cohesiveness in the second half with their three play callers.
I have a kind of higher score. I have 28-24 with the Cowboys winning. I think at halftime it's going to be a 14-7 Notre Dame lead. I think they're just going to come out stronger, and the Cowboys are going to take longer to kind of get in their groove. But once they do, our defense will be unstoppable, or they'll stop Notre Dame, and our offense will be unstoppable. So that's all we have for this morning. We got to get inside the stadium. Like we said earlier this week, Jason and I will be in the press box, and we will be live tweeting on my Twitter, AlexDusky_, and then Grayson and Brock, they will be on the field getting some footage for you guys that we will post later today. So be sure you're checking out all of our social medias, as I'm sure Grayson will be posting from the field as well. And the kickoff's in about 2 hours on ESPN, so make sure you're watching that. And go Pokes!